Listen to the Wealth Talks podcast and increase your financial wisdom. You will find episodes about investments, the infinite banking concept, how to fight inflation, the financial side of retirement, and financial questions Jesse asked his girlfriend. Listen to the Wealth Talks podcast on any podcast platform or watch it on YouTube. There are new episodes of the Wealth Talks podcast weekly. Search for Wealth Talks podcast online and subscribe for free.
My friends, do you smoke, vape, or chew tobacco? If so, Knick Knack Naturals is here to help you crush your vice. Knick Knacks are nicotine mints that completely dissolve in your mouth. No smoke, no spit, no mess. This product is only for folks currently using nicotine products who are looking for a better alternative. Visit knickknack.com and use promo code Todd to save 15%. That's NICNAC, knickknack.com, promo code Todd.
Attention, you're listening to the Todd Huff Radio Show, America's home for conservative, not bitter talk radio. Be advised that the content of this program has been documented to prevent and even cure liberalism, and listening may cause you to lean to the right. Here's your conservative, but not bitter host, Todd Huff.
Well, that is right, my friends. You have tuned in to America's home for conservative, not bitter talk. And yes, we're going to talk about last night's. It's not the State of the Union address, but for all intents and purposes, as I went through yesterday, that's what this thing was. It's just a technicality since Trump's not been in office to really give them an update on the work he's done in the past year. It's basically the starting point of where we are in 2025, and I am here for it. That was a fantastic speech. We're going to talk about it. I've got clips to play. There's lots of things that I want to get to today, all sorts of things that Trump hit on, and it, my friends, is going to be an enjoyable episode. Before we get started, though, let me remind you that, well, let me ask you this, I guess. Would you rather take 2 salty soft gels a day or spend hours in a doctor's office talking about your cholesterol? Because, my friends, I know what I would choose, and that's why I'm taking Salty. Salty is all natural. It is clinically proven. It is a dietary supplement that, again, has been clinically proven to lower cholesterol. No prescriptions, no doctor's visits. It's not even a drug. It's all natural. Just 2 salty soft gels a day is all it takes. And that is all that you need to do, my friends, to take care of your heart health with Salty. And let's face it, your family needs you healthy. Your church, your community, your business, they all need you strong. And your country also needs you in this fight. Salty is a simple way to make sure you're around for the long haul. Go to Salty.com. That's SOLTEA, Salty.com. Use my name, Todd, as the promotional code in the checkout process, and you will save 50%, and you will get free shipping as well. That's Salty.com, SOLTEA, promo code Todd, 2 soft gels a day. It doesn't get much easier than that. In fact, all you have to lose, my friends, are those high cholesterol numbers. All right, so that being said, let us get rocking and rolling here today. Let me tell you what my general thoughts were about the show, or the speech. It was a show. It was a performance last night, Trump being Trump, of course. But let me give you my thoughts and feedback. First, I think Trump said exactly what needed to be said. In today's Todd Talk, now, if you don't know, a Todd Talk, we do these every weekday. Each day we do a Todd Talk. It's a 60-second feature, if you will. I think that's what they call it here in the business. It's just a short thing that we put together, and we tackle different things. Sometimes we talk about things that's not in the headlines. Sometimes we talk about things kind of summarizing a part of the program. Sometimes we talk about something we couldn't get to or get to in much detail or whatever. There's a variety of different things that we talk about. But it's just a shorter snippet of content that's not just something pulled from the show. It's a short 60-second presentation piece or whatever. So the Todd Talk that we did yesterday, or excuse me, today, I laid out exactly what I liked about the speech. And, it is, we'll cover it in much more detail here, but what we're witnessing in the Trump administration, it is a breath of fresh air. I've waited, many of you have waited your entire adult lives for leadership like this, whether it's having someone who is simply conservative. And I know Trump is not a principled academic, I guess, conservative. He doesn't think about it that way, but the things that Trump is doing they are aligned with conservative principles and values because those values reflect common sense. And that's where Trump's starting point is. What makes sense? How would I run my business? How would I negotiate this particular problem? Find a solution here. That's how Trump is going about this. And so that is where we are, my friends, here. So, apologize here. I got something behind the scenes here. There we go. Had to fix something. So, the speech I thought was fantastic, and it's nice to hear and see a president do and say the right thing. Sometimes over the course of time, we would have heard someone say the right thing, but rarely is there a combination of saying and doing in politics. Oftentimes, these jokers and clowns in Washington, D.C. are using their words to get us to give them money, to support their campaign, to give them votes, whatever, and then they get into these positions of power and don't do anything about it. This is the exact opposite. What we're witnessing in Trump's second term is the exact opposite of that. We have a guy who has hit the ground running. We have a guy who is not messing around. We have a guy who is serious about the things that he has been talking about on the campaign trail. We have a guy who is seriously looking for solutions to America's problems. And you can disagree with the solutions, but I don't know how you can really disagree with what I'm saying here in the sense that he's not doing the traditional game. The traditional game where one or both of those components, doing and communicating, one of those two components is missing. Neither one of those are missing in this campaign, this administration. And Americans liked what they heard last night. Now, I'm going to play a clip here. This is very short. This is from CNN. I don't ever watch, I think I've shared this with you before, I don't ever watch things after the speech is given, right? I don't ever listen to the pundits. I take notes. I took probably 8 to 10 pages of notes last night, handwritten. It's sitting here beside me here at the microphone today. But I take the notes. I think about it. I jot down things that I want to bring up later. I watch clips of the sound of the speech after the fact, and I put together what I want to try to get to today. I never get to everything, but we get to as much of it as we can. So I didn't see this live, but I saw this posted. I don't even know the guy sitting here at the desk. I've seen him before. He's at CNN. That's important to note. He's at CNN, and he is reporting what CNN has discovered through their polling about the speech. And I just want you to listen
to the results.
To this.
What was your reaction to Trump's speech? 44% of speech watchers in our instant poll tonight say they had a very positive reaction to Trump's speech. 25% somewhat positive, 31% negative.
Okay, so 44% positive, or maybe even very positive. I have to look at what that says again. Let me go back to the video and look. So it says here, very positive, 44%. That's the reaction to Trump's speech. 25% somewhat positive. Somewhat positive is a positive reaction. And then negative reaction to Trump's speech is 31%. So Folks, nearly 70% of the people who watched it. Now, that's another thing. Who was watching this? I'm not saying that there's not any questions. I'm not suggesting that 71% of Americans are all behind what Trump is trying to do. However, I do think that if they got past the personal, the politics of personality, the terms and the classifications we give to people, liberal, conservative, Republican, Democrat, independent, all that stuff, if they just looked at what he was doing, I mean, folks, this is what the average American wants to see happen in his or her country. They want to see the country return to decency and common sense. They don't like where the leftists have taken us through their woke agenda. And I know some people scoff at that term, woke, but it's literally what they've tried to frame it as. They have framed it as people who have woke up to the reality of the problems that have been created by, well, the people in political power or by conservative or white men in general for other groups of people. And they are pushing to replace the traditional Western values in this culture, some absolutely insane and deranged things. People don't want this. People don't want their kids being taught this. In fact, I was just in a conversation with someone even yesterday about this. You know, conservatives, or even take that term out of it, just reasonable people say, look, live your life as you want to live. I mean, we're all free to make our choices. My freedom to swing my arm ends where your nose begins. But just because you're free to do it, it doesn't mean that I have to agree with it. Don't ask me to accept it. Don't force it down my throat. And don't try to tell my children, sneak this information behind my back in the public school system or anywhere, but that's the easiest avenue that they've got. Don't try to use these things to sneak in the information and to try to undermine what I've been teaching my child for the, however old the child is, for the 10 years, 15 years, whatever, 8 years. Some of these kids that are being assaulted with this stuff, this morally bankrupt worldview, are little kids. I just saw in the state of, was it Maryland? I think it was Maryland, that they have made a motion. I don't know if it's passed yet, but there's a bill in place, or that's being voted upon, that would allow for condoms to be placed in like elementary schools. What in the world is going on here? In what universe does that make any sense whatsoever? But it's this sort of stuff. It's that sort of stuff culturally. It's that sort of stuff when it comes to women's sports, when you've got biological men playing against women. People have had enough of this. And on top of that, in addition to that, the people that are pushing those things down their throat have also destroyed their economy. They have let inflation get out of control. They are driving up spending in this country to absolutely unsustainable levels. We are facing debt of just unbelievable magnitude, $36 trillion or whatever it is. It is incomprehensibly large. These are numbers that used to be reserved to talk about the distances between galaxies and so forth. These numbers now are what you and I owe back, what our children's children have to pay back. And so people have had enough of this. They've had enough of the virtue signaling. They've had enough of the wokeness. They've had enough of the broken economic policies. They've had enough of American weakness on display around the world that have allowed chaos to ensue around the world. I'm not blaming the previous administration for everything that happened in Ukraine, in the Middle East, but these things were not happening on President Donald Trump's watch. American weakness, as I've said on this program countless times, is what's provocative. And trying to negotiate a peace deal, as Trump is trying to do, between Russia and Ukraine, and to use whatever steps are necessary to apply pressure to get both parties to the table to stop this war, that is not weakness. That is accepting reality for what it is and looking for the best possible outcome so that we don't find ourselves in the midst of World War III. So America has had enough of all of this. And last night, Trump communicated this in clear and concise ways in bold ways. I mean, we predicted some of this. But at the core here, look at the clock. At the core here, we are in what I think is truly, I know that this to some of you may sound like an overstatement. To others, you would have, I think you would agree wholeheartedly here. But we're at a revolutionary moment. I know that that's a big word that has a lot of meaning and connotation, but we can revolutionize and dramatically change what's happening in our government. I'm not talking about changing it as founded. I'm talking about changing it from where it is today, which where it is today is not how it was founded. It was founded as a brilliant system. It has been infiltrated by people who have abused the system, who have abused you, by the way, and they are responsible for creating chaos and havoc in every conceivable way. And Americans have a chance here, have a chance. And I did, when I started this program, we're almost 10 years in. I started this back in 2015, podcasting out of our bedroom closet back in the day. And I don't think I would have been convinced 10 years ago that at this point in time, I would be talking about a truly revolutionary moment, a good revolution, the second American Revolution, where we embrace our founding principles and return to that. We had been deviating and sliding and just turning away from this nation as founded for so long that I didn't know if it was ever truly possible, and I'm an eternal optimist, but I didn't know if it was ever truly possible to stop the momentum in the wrong direction. And friends, we are at that intersection right now. And it's not a foregone conclusion. I don't know how this ends. I know how it should end. You know how it should end. And this is truly a revolutionary moment. And you could see last night on display. And I know there was one person that spoke. I didn't even watch the response by the Democrats. I've been enamored in, working to put together what I wanted to talk about on today's program here. And it's certainly not what the Democrats have to say, in part because of how they behaved last night. I mean, did you see that? It was truly pathetic political theater. And I got some clips here for this. I've got Al Green. Al Green, if you don't know, Al Green, Democrat lunatic from Texas. He's the one who has been the first person to push for Trump to be impeached. Well, in the first few days of Trump's first term back in 2017, and in his first few days of Trump's second term here in 2025. And so he had to engage in some really bad political theater last night. He got kicked out. He got kicked out of, at the very beginning of Trump's speech. Now, you might have seen a lot of people, typically there's talk about boycotting Trump's speeches, whether it's the inauguration. That sort of stuff isn't as prevalent as it was. It might have been more effective back in 2017. It was a way for the left, the political left, the Democrat Party to say, hey, things are so bad, I can't even go to this. And that actually meant something to some people back in 2017. But we've seen them fully exposed here over the course of the past 8-10 years now, especially in their lawfare, in their relentless pursuit of Trump to do whatever it takes, as long as it takes them, so long as it takes Trump away from the White House. And they failed miserably, by the way. Trump talked about that briefly last night as well. We'll get to that time permitting here. Maybe not this, it won't be this hour, maybe in the next hour. But the point here is that the things that might have worked back in 2017 are not working for the average people. The average person understands the seriousness of what's at stake here. The average person has lived through Trump's first term and now Biden's first term. They can compare and they can contrast. They can see what life was like under Trump. They can see what life was like under Biden. They saw what the Department of Justice and some of these district attorneys that were funded by George Soros have done in their pursuit of Donald J. Trump. They saw the president, or the nominee at the time, the Republican nominee for president, in Butler, Pennsylvania, back on July 13th. Trump talked about this as well. Nearly get his head blown off by a would-be assassin. I did see a headline that there's a private investigator, I think it's a private investigator, that says that assassin or attempted assassin wasn't acting alone, which many of us suspected that anyway. But the point is that people have watched all of this stuff happen. They watched the doomsday predictions of what Trump was going to cause to happen to America never materialize. And then in the next sentence, in the next act of the play, of the performance, they watched Joseph Robinette bribery drive this country headfirst into the ground. They saw what they were not allowed to see about Hunter Biden's laptop before the election in 2020. They've seen these things. They've watched the lawfare. They've watched the insanity. They've seen the corruption exposed by Doge. And people of different political ideologies can agree on a lot of what's happening here. Social Security was talked about as well. You can be a staunch defender of Social Security and not want to make any cuts to anyone's benefits, while at the same time wanting to see any waste, fraud, abuse, corruption eradicated. In fact, I would say if you really were a staunch defender of Social Security, you would be in that position. But that's not the position the left has taken. The left has taken the position that they are going to stand firmly behind whatever insanity that might ensue. And here's just an example of that, this pathetic political theater last night engaged in by the Representative Al Green. This is a clip put together by NBC News. I want you to listen. If you didn't hear it, just
Green,
listen
take
to
your
all
seat.
this.
Take your seat, sir.
He's standing up. Speaker
Take your
Johnson's
seat.
telling him to take a seat.
The chair now directs the Sergeant-at-Arms to restore order.
Here we go. So this went on for a minute.
Remove this gentleman from the chamber.
This is what he wanted, by the way. The Sergeant at Arms walks up to Al Green. So Al Green had been standing up saying, because Trump had said, I have a mandate from the American people. And he was highlighting, I won the popular vote. I won this many thousand counties in the country to this, the Democrats only won this many. I won all 7 of the toss-up states, of the swing states. And he was saying, I've got a mandate to do what I'm talking about tonight. And Al Green stood up and was saying, you don't have a mandate. You couldn't really hear everything he was saying because he wasn't mic'd up. And that's one of the beauties of the State of the Union address, is that you could hear just the optics of this. You got Trump at the podium, at the microphone, just, again, going in hot, telling people what's up. I loved every second of this. And then you hear little voices. You would hear someone's blurt something out, but it was so, because it wasn't picked up on the microphone, it was so tiny and minuscule that it sounded almost ridiculous. And that's kind of what this sounded like. This was a performance. He got what he wanted, the Representative Al Green here. He wanted the photo op because I'll tell you why. Because they wanted to show him getting kicked out of here by the Sergeant of Arms. The House is run by the Republicans. Speaker Mike Johnson is the one that told the Sergeant of Arms to basically kick Al Green out. They wanted this photo op because they're going to go back. He's going to fundraise on this. He's going to do some messaging on this where he's going to say this is what Hitler does. He kicks his opposition out of the assembly hall. And the reality is the only reason Al Green was kicked out was because he was repeatedly interfering with the speech with the very purpose that they were there. That's not free speech. He can say whatever he wants, but you can't simply create chaos and disorder. You have to work within certain guidelines. Even when you're in Congress, they have Robert's Rules of Order you got to follow. Anyway, so that's what happened here. I'm up against the break here. I have to take a timeout. We're going to come back, pick up here. Quick timeout, my friends. You're listening here to Conservative Not Bitter Talk. I am your host, Todd Huff, back here in just a minute.
Listen to the Wealth Talks podcast and increase your financial wisdom. You will find episodes about investments, the infinite banking concept, how to fight inflation, the financial side of retirement, and financial questions Jesse asked his girlfriend. Listen to the Wealth Talks podcast on any podcast platform or watch it on YouTube. There are new episodes of the Wealth Talks podcast weekly. Search for Wealth Talks podcast online and subscribe for free.
My friends, do you smoke, vape, or chew tobacco? If so, Knick Knack Naturals is here to help you crush your vice. Knick Knacks are nicotine mints that completely dissolve in your mouth. No smoke, no spit, no mess. This product is only for folks currently using nicotine products who are looking for a better alternative. Visit knickknack.com and use promo code Todd to save 15%. That's NICNAC, knickknack.com, promo code Todd. Looking for the ultimate natural health supplement? Z-Stack is a trusted brand formulated by Dr. Zelenko with clinically proven ingredients and proudly manufactured in the USA. Z-Stack is the choice of true patriots who want to fight against the corrupt medical system. Go to zstacklife.com/Todd and use code Todd at checkout to save 15% off your purchase. Z-Stack, empowering you to stay prepared, stay safe, and stay strong. Welcome back, my friends. So, let's continue here. I'm just gonna pick up where we left off. You get the idea. Representative Al Green standing up, saying Trump doesn't have a mandate. There's a part in the speech where you could see Trump kind of point his fingers and say, "Get him out of here," sort of thing, which is, by the way, exactly what should happen. Now, the left is going to try to portray this. Al Green is going to try to portray this as an example of Trump trying to silence the opposition. That's not what happened here. This was an attempt to restore order to what was happening in that chamber. Representative Al Green is free to disagree and say whatever he will about Trump, so long as it doesn't directly threaten the life of the president or something like that, which unfortunately I have to say here in 2025. But he has the right to say it. He just can't say it when the president has the floor. There is order there should be order in our system of government, and he totally violated it. So Speaker Mike Johnson said, "Get out of here." Get him out of here, Sergeant of Arms. And that's what's happening here. I'm going to rejoin it here. You're going to hear clapping
We
and
won
cheering.
the popular vote
Trump
by big numbers and won counties in our country.
And here you hear the left. More disruption. Now there's chanting.
And won counties in our country, 2,700 to 525.
These are facts. There's the point.
On a map that reads almost completely red for Republicans.
It's a fact. Deal with it, left.
Largest one-month gain ever recorded, a 41-point jump.
They're still booing. I don't know what they're doing. These are the election results.
Members are directed to uphold and maintain decorum in the House and to cease any further disruptions. That's your warning.
Al Green's still here yelling something. You can't hear him. It doesn't matter.
Members are engaging in willful and continuing breach of decorum, and the chair is prepared to direct the Sergeant at Arms to restore order to the joint session.
And that's what happened. So the way NBC put this together, they played the clip of him being removed and then played what happened preceding that. And what preceded that was, again, Trump giving the numbers where he was saying, we've won this many counties, I've got a mandate, we won the swing states, we won the popular vote, all of this stuff. And they start booing this. They start saying, you don't have a mandate. And that's when all this chaos happens. There's individual voices on the left that are yelling out things. Al Green stands up and tries to virtue signal, tries to make it look like he's got his Rosa Parks moment or something like that. And that's what's going on here. It's supposed to look like he is standing up to Adolf Hitler. That is what they want. That's the optics that they are after. And they're trying to make this look like some important moment that, they're standing up in the face of some sort of tyranny, of some sort of injustice. And that is obviously not what is going on here. So, more to say about this, my friends. Before I do that, though, are you tired of spending your hard-earned money at businesses that turn around and support leftist causes? These causes that fuel these candidates and these lunatics behaving like petulant children out here. That's, my friend, the reason why we here at the Todd Huff Show created Freedom Marketplace. It is a free, searchable directory of businesses that share your conservative values, businesses that have vowed to not support these leftist lunatics, leftist candidates, leftist causes, none of that stuff, And that is who you will find on Freedom Marketplace. They sign an agreement. They pledge. They vow. If they violate that agreement, they will be off of Freedom Marketplace. But I don't have to worry about that because I get to know these people. These are people that love their country and that are pushing in the same direction that you are. And when you look at Freedom Marketplace, you don't have to log in. You don't have to create an account. There's no cost to you. This is totally free, no strings attached. It's just good, patriotic businesses that are pushing in the same direction that you are, and you've got a chance to support them and help keep your dollars out of the hands of the people that fund these candidates and causes that are causing the havoc on the country and the disorder in the chamber here. So check it out today. Website address is freedommarketplace.net. Again, that's freedommarketplace.net. Liberty and business for all. All right, so we had chaos and disorder. I would say that we had two versions of America on display last night. Now, it's not just last night. We can see it on display in real time with the things the Democrats and the modern left support versus what Trump is pushing for, what the American people want. We could compare to Biden's last term. So there's plenty of places to see it, but you could physically see it last night. Disorder, chaos, pandemonium, petulance, just childish, juvenile behavior at best against what makes a lot of sense and against what the average American is wanting more and more of. So I'll also mention last night, well, you know what I'm going to do real quick? I'm going to play. I don't do this very often. I'm going to play one of our this is the Todd Talk from yesterday when I gave just a prediction of what might actually happen during last night's address. And this is what I had to say.
My friends, tonight, President Donald Trump will address the nation before a joint session of Congress. While not technically a State of the Union address, it's the equivalent for a president just over a month into his term. Expect boldness from Trump mixed with enough political trash talk to keep the pedal to the metal on his agenda and his opponents reeling. He'll celebrate victories, reining in government, securing the border, and working to end global conflicts. Meanwhile, Democrats are scrambling, clueless about how to counter Trump's popularity and effectiveness. Trump is dismantling the bureaucratic state at breakneck speed.
He certainly
and
is.
It's a beautiful thing for those who love limited government.
I love it.
And who knows, we may hear Trump mention Pocahontas, Governor Trudeau, Canada as the 51st state, or buying Greenland.
Now, I will tell you that two of those three things were mentioned last night. I got to say, too, I don't listen to myself. Listening to that, you are a fortunate group of people because that, my friend, that is a beautiful thing I just played there. But that being said, I'm just teasing. I mean, you are lucky, but I'm just having some fun here. Trump calls out Pocahontas last night, and this was not on the teleprompter. In fact, Trump was talking about ending the war in Ukraine, stop sending all the billions of dollars over there. When he talked about all the money that we had sent to Ukraine, the Democrats were cheering. They were applauding this. And Trump paused in his speech and basically said, you want this thing to go on for 5 more years. And they kept clapping. There were fewer people that were clapping. But one of them was Elizabeth Warren. She clapped basically by herself. And Trump called her out right in the middle of his speech. I just want you to listen to this in case you missed it. Again, this is the petulant, childish left.
No end in sight. The United States has sent hundreds of billions of dollars to support Ukraine's defense.
Now listen to the applause.
With no security.
It's tepid.
No anything.
A couple of people over there on the left. Goes on for a minute. But Trump's going to jump in here. He's had enough. Here we go.
Do you want to keep it going for another 5 years? Yeah. You would say
Elizabeth
Pocahontas
Warren.
says yes.
Oh, I missed the part.
Pocahontas says yes. Yeah. You would say Pocahontas says yes.
Pocahontas says yes, is what Trump said. Drawing laughter from the Republicans. Now it shows her she's the only person clapping, I believe, right now. Getting
2,000 people are being killed.
Get the idea. So Trump calls out Pocahontas last night. This is the behavior, right? The behavior. Single person clapping consistently. That's what's going on over. That's what they've got. This is the best that they've got. And I know some people are bothered when Trump calls her Pocahontas. Listen, I know we've got some new listeners out there. I love to tell you this. I am the official, and listen to me. This is not made up. This is not satire or hyperbole. I have been proven. Science has spoken and proven that I am the 13th great-grandchild of Pocahontas. And I'm not kidding you. I think this is really neat, by the way. I'm just having a little bit of fun with this. So as the direct heir from Pocahontas, and Powhatan as well, her father, I have declared myself to be the official spokesperson for the Pocahontas family. And I can tell you that we are not bothered. We're not bothered by Trump calling her Pocahontas because Trump is actually using the name to point out how ridiculous Elizabeth Warren's behavior is. She did a good job of demonstrating her own ridiculousness right there, but Trump is calling her Pocahontas because she's the one that wants to make everything about identity politics, and she's actually less Native American than I am. You don't hear me going around saying those. I'll say those things to illustrate how ridiculous all this is, and I'll point out that I am the official self-appointed spokesperson for the Pocahontas family. But we're not bothered by that. We're bothered by the behavior of the left. We're bothered by the identity politics. We're bothered by made-up identity politics on top of that. Out of time here, this segment, my friends. Quick time out. You're listening here to the home of conservative, not bitter talk. I am your host, the one and only Todd Huff, back here in just a minute.
Listen to the Wealth Talks podcast and increase your financial wisdom. You will find episodes about investments, the infinite banking concept, how to fight inflation, the financial side of retirement, and financial questions Jesse asked his girlfriend. Listen to the Wealth Talks podcast on any podcast platform or watch it on YouTube. There are new episodes of the Wealth Talks podcast weekly. Search for Wealth Talks podcast online and subscribe for free.
My friends, do you smoke, vape, or chew tobacco? If so, Knick Knack Naturals is here to help you crush your vice. Knick Knacks are nicotine mints that completely dissolve in your mouth. No smoke, no spit, no mess. This product is only for folks currently using nicotine products who are looking for a better alternative. Visit knickknack.com and use promo code Todd to save 15%. That's NICNAC, knickknack.com, promo code Todd. Looking for the ultimate natural health supplement? Z-Stack is a trusted brand formulated by Dr. Zelenko with clinically proven ingredients and proudly manufactured in the USA. Z-Stack is the choice of true patriots who want to fight against the corrupt medical system. Go to zstacklife.com/Todd and use code Todd at checkout to save 15% off your purchase. Z-Stack, empowering you to stay prepared, stay safe, and stay strong. Welcome back, my friends. Here we are, the third and final segment of the first hour. We got more to get to in the next hour. But the Democrats behaved like petulant children last night. And I have to tell you, I got a message. From a friend last night. And I want to share just the basic sentiments of it, I suppose. Because if you are if you're an OG, original listener of this program, dating back to 2015, maybe 2016, 17, I would on occasion reference a friend of mine that I affectionately referred to as the hippie lib. Now, the hippie lib is a young lady that I had met just as I was out and about at a local restaurant. She was the server, and we got to talking, we got to know each other, and when she found out that I had a conservative talk show and that I was a conservative person, she said, "Oh, well, you can call me the hippie lib," because she's a hippie liberal, she told me. And that's been a long time ago, because now the hippie lib has, well, she's grown up, gotten married, has children, and has witnessed what this government run by the left has done to the American people. So she sends me a message last night, basically complaining about what I just played here for you, the behavior of the radical left, the behavior of Al Green, the petulant, childish behavior of the Democrat Party. And a few years ago, I don't know how long ago she still was, would have called herself the hippie lib, but it wasn't that long ago that she would have been voting for these folks. And I point this out because it is abundantly obvious to anyone who's fair-minded. Look, I understand when people are younger, they might have a desire or an interest, a connection in some of these liberal ideas and so forth. But then most people grow up. Most people realize that there is fantasy, there is delusion, there are policies and ideas on the left that violate, that just don't correspond with human nature. They break the moral law. I mean, all sorts of things. People watch it unravel for their own reasons. So most people, many people, I should say, simply grow up. Their life experiences do not connect with what they've been told is happening by the Democrat Party. For example, they might know a lot of people who the media and the left call racist, and they think, I've never heard a racist thing come out of this person's mouth. They might think, I know a couple who the left would call racist, and they adopted a minority child or something along those lines, and it just doesn't make sense. And so simply living life, having experiences, growing up, paying taxes, having children, and then realizing what they're trying to teach your children, someone like the hippie lib can say, I am done with this. And I don't know to what degree she's done with it, but she's certainly not on board with what was on display last night. And she had made comments to me in the past that I don't know how much of a hippie lib I am anymore. I actually find myself having much more agreement with people on your side of the aisle. And that's what's happening. And there's a lot of people, who's left? Who is left for the left? It's people who are embracing this childish behavior. It is people who are embracing the fantasy and the morally bankrupt worldview of the radical left. It is people who are simply committed Democrats who will refuse. It's like the sports fan who's a dyed-in-the-wool, say, Yankees fan or Red Sox fan or whatever, Patriots fan, Colts fan, whatever, and they refuse to accept bad decisions made by the team because they think that undermines their loyalty, their fidelity to the cause or something. Those are the people that are left. That's it. There are no other people that are reasonable, decent, free-thinking people that were okay with how that behavior happened last night. There, people who are reasonable and decent have abandoned the woke agenda. People who have sense, again, CNN's own poll, 69% of the American people had a positive reaction to Trump's speech last night. That is pretty impressive, my friends. And so it's becoming more and more obvious. In fact, Trump hit on this. Do I have time to play this? We're going to get as much of this as I can in. Trump actually hit on this. He says, look, I can do anything, and you wouldn't be happy on the left.
This is my fifth such speech to Congress. And once again, I look at the Democrats in front of me, and I realize there is absolutely nothing I can say to make them happy.
That's right.
Or to make them stand or smile or applaud. Nothing
they hate
I can
him.
do.
They hate America.
I could find a cure to the most devastating disease.
That's right.
A disease that would wipe out entire nations or announce the answers to the greatest economy in history or the stoppage of crime to the lowest levels ever recorded. And these people sitting right here will not clap, will not stand, and certainly will not cheer for these astronomical achievements. They won't do it, no matter what. Five times I've been up here. It's very sad, and it just shouldn't be this way.
It shouldn't be this way, but it is. And listen, part of it is their job.
So Democrats sitting before me,
but it's not all their job.
For just this one night, like a child. Why not join us in celebrating so many incredible wins for America?
Join us. We're holding out an olive branch.
Nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
Yeah, and they didn't do it. They acted like petulant children. This is obvious to anyone who's paying attention. And there you can hear the music coming in. I have to wrap up here, my friends. It's all I got time for this hour. I will see you, my friends, in the next hour. Thank you so much for listening. SDG.
Listen to the Wealth Talks podcast and increase your financial wisdom. You will find episodes about investments, the infinite banking concept, how to fight inflation, the financial side of retirement, and financial questions Jesse asked his girlfriend. Listen to the Wealth Talks podcast on any podcast platform or watch it on YouTube. There are new episodes of the Wealth Talks podcast weekly. Search for Wealth Talks podcast online and subscribe for free.
My friends, do you smoke, vape, or chew tobacco? If so, Knick Knack Naturals is here to help you crush your vice. Knick Knacks are nicotine mints that completely dissolve in your mouth. No smoke, no spit, no mess. This product is only for folks currently using nicotine products who are looking for a better alternative. Visit knickknack.com and use promo code Todd to save 15%. That's NICNAC, knickknack.com, promo code Todd.